Welcome to Card Central 365. Randy Karraker with you, and it is a pleasure to be joined by former Cardinal and St. Louisan Matt Adams, who is. Have you retired? Has that word entered your realm now?
Retired from picking up a bat and stepping in the box and playing, yeah. But no, I jumped ship to the other side and got right into coaching, which I absolutely loved. So it was a kind of a unique transition, one that I, didn't really know how it was going to go. Still kind of filling that out and getting everything nailed down with that, but really excited about jumping into the coaching side and diving into helping players.
What makes it unique?
The retire, figuring out the whole
change, the transition. Because let's start with this. Is it hard? We talked about retiring from picking up a bat and a glove. Is it hard? Was it hard for you to stop? Because I know how much you love the game. I follow you on social media. I know how much you love it.
Yeah. This year was kind of a cool dynamic. I was a AAA bench coach in the Padres organization. I got to the field early enough where I still went into the cage and grabbed the bat and hit off the tee and whatnot, because I still wanted to feel all the feels of hitting so I could help guys if they had questions or approach stuff. So still got out there and took ground balls with guys in spring training and in the season. So I still felt like I was a little bit of a player, but it was hard in a sense to come 7:05 when those lights came on, knowing that I didn't have cleats on, that I wasn't running out on the field and playing the game, but I was still part of the game, which was awesome. So I wouldn't say that's the uniqueness about it, is still feeling like part of me is still wants to know that I'm a player, but also knowing that I can still apply that experience that I had as a player to coaching the kids and helping them get the most out of their abilities.
And you use that word approach, which is used all the time, and it should be. And as I watched you evolve as a hitter, you could tell that it was happening. At one point the light goes on for you as a hitter. Who was the biggest benefit to you as you came to the majors and evolved as a hitter? Who helped you with your approach the most?
I think, my teammates, just talking with, Matt Holliday's, Yadier, being around Berkman in spring training, David Freese, Jon Jay, scouts, all the Cardinal greats, they were such great teammates, because if you had questions or if, you just watch them go about your business, you're going to learn a lot. So I would say and then, Mabry and Mark McGwire, those were my hitting coaches with the Cardinals. So being able to pick their brains, who, the two of them did it at a very high level for a long time. I don't have one specific guy. I would just say all my, all the great teammates that I was able to, share the field with, they were great. The Cardinals did a really good job of just, getting good guys and good people at heart that wanted to help everybody else on the field and in the clubhouse.
What's interesting about that list that you just gave us is that McGwire was a home run hitter, but he was also a really good hitter.
Yeah.
Great approach. But none of those guys were classic sluggers, right? They were all hitters that could hit home runs.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what gets lost in today's game, is everybody's so worried about exit velo and how far you can hit the ball and whatnot. Well, if you're not a good hitter from the get-go, it doesn't matter how hard you hit the ball or how far it goes, because more than likely you're not going to touch it with the velo and all the movement that the pitchers have in nowadays. It's just, I think, being a good hitter is kind of a lost art in today's game. I think, guys are worried about, some of the wrong things. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great hitters in the game, but I think analytics has played a big role in that side of it.
Well, and one of those, you were playing during the time that the shift became a thing, and then it became really in vogue. As a left-handed hitter, a left-handed pull hitter, how much did that affect you, and did it change your approach?
Yeah, I would have way more hits on the back of my baseball card if the shift wasn't in play. But from an approach standpoint, that's what the opposing team wants. They want you to be worried about where the defenders are positioning themselves when you're up to bat. So if I got caught up into that when I'm standing in the batter's box, I'm already I'm already defeated basically in that at bat. So I had to work really hard and I had mental cues and you know, a routine that I had stepping into the batter's box where I was just solely focused on that pitcher out there on the mound. Didn't really care who, like, I knew that they were shifted, but I didn't worry where they were at because I knew that would take me out of my approach.
It's all about the mental aspect of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you make it to the majors, if you have the talent to make it to the majors, then it's all up here, right?
100%. It's the, you know, they say, saying is it's easier to get there than to stay there. So like once you get there at that level, everybody's got talent. That's why they're there. But the guys that can, you know, make a career out of it and play for a very long time and, you know, have good careers, they adapt. They're able to make changes on the fly, and like you touched upon, that mental side of the game, it is a big deal. And I would even say nowadays it's even a big deal at the high school level, the college level, the, you know, getting into the minor league side of it. It's, you know, you hear everybody talking about mindset and how important it is, but it is very important.
Merrimack Pools and Outdoors can make your backyard the place everyone wants to be. They'll design it, build it, and make it look amazing. Stop dreaming and start building. Merrimack Pools and Outdoors. SplashSTL.com.
I remember talking to a couple of your former teammates, though. Colton Wong is the guy that comes to mind the most. He hated having his head filled up with stuff. And what you talk about, and Mike Shannon always used to say this, the worst thing you can go to when you go to the plate is think, right? So like you said, you zone in, you zone in on the job that's at hand, but you can't be trying, can you, to guess what the pitcher is thinking?
No, I would say that there's guys out there that definitely sit on pitches and try to guess what the pitcher's thrown. And there are guys that are very successful at doing that. But it's because they do their homework.
Yeah.
They watch video, they watch tendencies. It's guys that have faced guys a lot. You're gonna know what pitch he likes to throw 1-1, depending on what situation it is. So yeah, I mean, I think everything goes into play there.
I want to talk one more thing about the shift. The guy that you played a lot of ball with, Matt Carpenter. I was talking to him because people would always say, "Why didn't he just hit it the other way? Why can't he just hit it the other way?" And I talked to Matt about it, and he said, "Well, you know, when I hit those 55 doubles in 2013, I could count on a sinker 94 low and away and just serve it the other way." He said, "But by 3 years later, everything was 98, 99, 100 up and in.
Yeah.
It's hard to hit the other way, right? Up
100%. Yeah. If you're trying to take, you know, to Carp's point, 98, 99 mile an hour fastball up and in on your hands and try to shoot it to left field, more than likely that bat's getting blown up or you're swinging and missing, trying to manipulate that swing to hit it the other way. So I think that's where that approach really comes into play. If you want to go the other way, then you lay off. You don't try to swing at that up and in pitch. So like, and if a pitcher's got good command and he can locate 3 of those 100 mile an hour fastballs up and in the strike zone, then you tip your cap to him and you know, get ready for the next at bat. Yeah. But no, I think, you know, there are guys that can have really good inside out swings that can serve the ball the other way. But I was always a guy that just tried to, you know, I had my plan in place depending on who was standing out there on the mound, and I would just try to hit the ball where it was pitched.
One of the things also in being around the game as a fan, I consider myself a fan with access, but everybody always told me that pinch hitting is the hardest thing to do. You're coming in, you're facing a guy with a fresh arm, and you haven't been to the plate all day. And yet every team seems to have a bench of rookie guys. How hard was it, first of all, to be a young player that had played? You'd never been a pinch hitter because you were a good player, and then all of a sudden you come up and you're a pinch hitter. How hard is that?
There's definitely a learning curve for sure, because like you said, like I came like through the minor leagues, I was playing every day. Didn't matter if there was a right-handed, left-handed pitcher on the mound, submarine guy, like I was in that lineup every single day. And then you get to the big leagues where, you know, just thankful to have made it. And, you know, the role my rookie year was I was the bench guy. So I knew that I was, you know, left-handed bat coming off the bench, the first bat coming off the bench, usually, depending on the situation. And then spilling, you know, Craig and Carp at first base every 3 to 4 days if needed. So there's definitely a learning curve there, but that's where you lean in on guys that have pinch hit. You know, pick their brain, pick John Mabry did it in his career. So like he was my hitting, like, so I was talking to him every day about what my routine needed to look like. What inning do I go down and start getting the body moving around, and all that depended on how the game was going, how our pitcher was doing, how the opposing pitcher was doing. If there was a right-handed warming up in the bullpen, then my name was probably going to be called to pinch hit. So you kind of like learn, and by asking peers how they did it, what was their routine like, and then you start piecing together your own little routine that you find through trial and error, what works for you, what doesn't, and that's fortunately I learned that quicker than some people did. So I was able to settle into that the lefty bat off the bench role. That's really, I made a career of doing.
I was going to
that.
say it kind of kept you in the game for a while.
100%, yeah, because I realistically, I probably only got maybe a year and a half of everyday at bats, and then I got traded over to Atlanta in 2017 when Freddie broke his hand. I got everyday at bats there, but when he came back, I was back to being the left-handed.
You didn't beat Freddie out, huh?
No, for a week I moved him. He offered to move to third base to keep my bat in the lineup, which was kind of cool. Moving a Gold Glove Hall of Fame first baseman over to third base, but that only lasted a week, and then he came in and said, "Nah, my arm's not built up for that long throw every inning." So he moved back, but it was all good. But yeah, it's it was fun. But yeah, I made a career of being a pinch hitter, and I've really found a routine that worked for me, that got my body ready to go. And I think what people don't understand as a pinch hitter, you got to be ready to go from pitch one. You don't have the luxury of, oh, I'll get this guy next at bat. Like you got 3 strikes, 4 balls to work with against this guy, and you got to be ready to swing from the get-go, from when you stand in that box. So,
and I think that, I know everybody in baseball is looking for that inefficiency. The Cardinals now are saying, okay, we're going to work the margins. I think if you would put together, and this is nothing against the rookies that are there, but the rookies that are there are because ownership can pay them the minimum. I think if you were willing to pay professional hitters that could come off, professional players that could come off the bench, the Mabrys of the world, like you talk about, what you became, $3, $4, $5 million. Those are some at bats that can win you games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning that I don't think that teams are taking advantage of.
No, I think, and I may be selling it short, but I don't even know if teams have to go $3, $4, $5 million for a role like that. You give a guy, $1.5 or $2 million as that being his role. You're gonna, and somebody that has done it in his career, you're gonna get successful at bats, across the course of 162 game season. So yeah, I think more times than not, when a pinch hitter's name's getting called, it's meaningful situation. Yeah. So with runners in scoring position, less than 2 outs, where you have to hunker down and get a pitch where you can drive, in the air and on that. So there's a lot of things that go in, but I think, the veteran, guy that may not be able to play every day, but still is a great hitter, great player. I think that's a role for those kind of guys.
No doubt. Matt Adams with us, and we want you to know that here in the state of Missouri, legalized gambling is coming your way with DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Just use that promo code right there on your screen, STL Sports. And when DraftKings gets started on December 1st, if you're a new Missouri customer, you can get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings launches on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day. Live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app, trusted by millions, safe, secure, and has a fast money withdrawal. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use that code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem their pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Matt Adams with us. And so physically present in Missouri. If I would have come up to you after your first game in 2012 and said, Matt, 2025, you're going to be involved in baseball, but you're not going to be playing anymore, but you're going to be physically present in St. Louis, what would you have thought? Would you have thought that St. Louis would be the place you land?
No, if you would ask me that in 2012 or 2013, no. But I made so many great built so many great relationships here. Met my wife here in 2016. So yeah, I love the city. Love everything about it. It's 20 minutes you get wherever you need to go in St. Louis. Hockey team's great. St. Louis City now. Wish there was still an NFL football team. I know that's a sore subject for a lot of people in this area.
What is your NFL team?
My NFL team's Pittsburgh Steelers.
I figured.
I grew up smack dab in the middle part of PA. So, but my household, it was all Pittsburgh sports. Everything, nothing Philly. It was always Steelers, Penguins, Pirates growing up. So it was
a lot of black and gold.
A lot of black and gold, but it was also cool being able to go back to PNC Park for the first time and play there as like my hometown team, play against them. That was really cool too. Yeah. So, but yes, I mean, St. Louis is amazing. I really happy with the decision to stay here, and I'm just really, really excited to see where it takes me in the future.
Well, it's interesting because I follow you on social media, and you're active. Follow Matt Adams on social media, and you and your wife talk a lot about your conditioning, and you're still in great shape. And I asked you this before we came on. Are you in better shape now than the day you made your major league debut?
Oh, without question, probably 40 pounds lighter.
Before we get into that, Freese called you Jumbo Pepsi. What did you think of that nickname?
Wasn't thrilled at the time with Jumbo Pepsi. I know that Jim Hayes had a part to do with that, with asking the question on live TV and getting fans' responses. But that year I showed up to spring training and Berkman put his arm around me and said, "We're going to call you Big City." That's way better than Jumbo Pepsi. But Freese was kind of the one. Once Berkman was gone, Freese kept that nickname rolling. So
yeah, Big City.
Yeah. He tried to get the Jumbo Pepsi to stick, but we got Big City to stick, which I'm grateful for. It's a pretty cool nickname.
It is, and from the big city, obviously. But the reason that I brought up social media is because you and your wife talk a lot about being in shape and being in physical condition. And I know she's been a big part of your physical evolution.
Yeah, she's trained professional athletes for 25 plus years. So, when I turned to her, she met her in spring training of 16. The Cardinals brought her down to be a trainer and help us with recovery and Pilates and whatnot. And I sat down and asked her a question about my body and everything, and she fired back and gave me all the reasons why I the change would help me and all that. So that off season, worked with her all through the 2016 season. And then that off season was the first time that I stayed in St. Louis full time. And she wrote up me an off season program, and I lost 38 pounds and almost 15% body fat going into the 17 season. So that was a huge transition for my career, because that helped me to prolong my career and be able to play as long as I did. But yeah, even now, as a coach and being retired as a player, it's still, she still writes me up workouts. We still talk about, how my body's feeling today, what would be a good workout for that. Still do Pilates. Like I told you before we came on, her studio set up in our basement. So I hop down there and get on their equipment still. And Pilates is a big staple, but
one time, Kurt Warner was trying to lose weight, and he started Pilates during an off season, and he said he stopped Pilates, but he couldn't stop losing weight. So how do you do? Did you ever have that problem where you weren't able to kind of control your diet and exercise?
I got to a point where I knew that I didn't want to to lose too much weight, because I didn't want my power to be hurt by it, or the way that I was moving. But no, I never had I'm a big dude. I never had a problem where I was losing too much weight, but she helped me figure out that good mid-range point of where my body operates most efficiently, and we found that number, and that's kind of where I like to stay around.
That is such a key, and I'm glad you use that word efficiency, because I contend, and you can tell me because you're a professional athlete, I'm clearly not conditioned, but I think some guys are too finely tuned, and I think that's guys with obliques, with hamstrings, with stuff like that. You can almost be in too good a shape. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, obviously, you want to be in good shape. You don't want to have a lot of fat on your body. Takes a big toll in your body over a course of a long season. But yeah, I mean, I think you look at the guys that get injured. Like, Tyler O'Neill is a good friend of mine, but I think he's
jacked.
He's got to be dang near 5% body fat.
Yeah.
So I think when you're that lean, when you're that like in shape, yeah, I think there, things could go wrong. I mean, I had some teammates that would always tell me, you can't pull fat.
That's what I go with. That's my play.
So I think that's like one of the funnier statements that I've heard from teammates and some friends and whatnot. But that one always cracks me up. Like, oh well, I have a hard time getting injured because you can't pull fat. But yeah, it's good dynamic.
I got to ask you a couple of things about your career. Number one, did you hear that when Kershaw was in, the Dodgers were in town Sunday, the last time he was ever in St. Louis, the Cardinals kept playing your home run off of him on a loop, and he got pissed?
I did. I forget where our team was. We may have been home in El Paso, but my phone kept blowing up, and I was like, "What? Why?" Like, I think he pitched on Sunday.
Yeah, he did.
I think it was a Sunday day game. So before the game started, that video was on repeat, and he was not super happy about it. He made it clear in his post game interview. But yeah, I had a ton of people, like random fans that I don't even know, friends in the area, family back home that follow a lot of the St. Louis sports pages. I probably got maybe 100 messages about them playing that video. So and then even the other night he came in and pitched in that 18 inning game. For an inning, I had people blowing up my phone. Can you grab a bat? Can you get out to LA? Like, so it's like, first and foremost, I don't want to take anything away from him. He's one of the best pitchers.
I think you could make the case that he's one of the 5 best of all time, 5 best starting pitchers of all time.
But to be able to have a moment like that, especially in the postseason, to be able to the last 3-4 years of my playing career, I would watch, like, if I got into a little scuff at the plate, that was a video that I went to to just kind of put me back into that atmosphere, that environment of, having success off one of the game's best pitchers. And I get chills right now thinking about it, but it sends you back in, and you're able to feel all the feels and just kind of reset your thinking process and your mindset stuff. So yeah, I'm super grateful to be able to have that moment off Kershaw.
Do you get people around town when you're walking around saying, "I remember where I was when you hit that home"?
Oh yeah, we my wife and I will walk our dogs in Clayton and whatnot. And we'll get stopped and be like, "Hey, I was at that game when you hit the home run off Kershaw." Yeah, but St. Louis is just a sports city, so to be able to have one of those cool moments in St. Louis sports history. And fans want to come up and talk about it. I'll talk all day about that.
Well, everybody says when they quit playing that the thing they miss most is being around the clubhouse, being around the camaraderie. Now, you were obviously with the kids, but in terms of being on a major league team, do you agree with those guys?
Yeah, there's nothing that can replace that clubhouse atmosphere, that vibe that you show up to work with your boys, with your friends, and you're going to battle to try to win a game. There's nothing like that. It's even this past year as a coach, I was still able to go into the club. The guys wanted me to come into the clubhouse, and we had an older veteran AAA team. So it was cool to still go in there after the game, have a drink or whatever, sit down and just talk about the game. That's the way that I was introduced into professional baseball. That's what the Cardinals were so good at, was after the game, guys weren't rushing to get out of the clubhouse. You're showering, you're having a drink with your buddies and just talking about the game that night. And, what could we have done better to come out on the winning side, or, what did we do wrong that lost us that? Like, so it's just talking shop. Like that's the stuff that you miss as, you know, when the playing career ends.
One other thing here, as a coach now and played for a long time, and you were in the Cardinal organization, so you learned how to win. And I contend, and I know people get tired of it, when I say a lot of young players, even when they get to the major leagues, they don't know how to make like winning major league plays. If somebody that's 18 comes up to you and says, Matt, I want to make it to the majors, but I just don't want to make it. Like you say, I want to stick around. What's the piece of advice that you give young people that you know have talent, but they need to polish that talent and be as good as they can?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would lead with do the small and little things correct. Like I know that like everybody wants to hit the home runs or, you know, strike everybody out, but it's the little boring things that, you know, developing a fielding routine where you do every single day. They touched on it the other day with Freddie, with the Dodgers. Like he's out there on his hands and knees doing his defensive routine just after hitting a walk-off homer in 18 innings, and he shows up the same time the next day, routine. So I would say get really good at, you know, doing the fundamental little things correctly. And then also developing a routine that you can tie your confidence into each and every day, because everybody wants to go 4 for 4, but in reality, you go 3 out of 10, if you get 3 hits and 10 at bats, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So like having that routine where, you know, I did this today. I did, like, if you have a routine that you can come up with that puts you in the right mindset to go out there and compete and win, then you're going to be farther along than just showing up and expecting to get stuff done.
You've already started paying your dues as a coach. Did you learn enough about yourself in 25 that it's something that you want to pursue? Would you like to be a major league coach or manager someday?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's, you know, the goal for 26 is, you know, to seek an impactful role on a major league staff. Somewhere in the end goal is, you know, I eventually want to be a big league manager. Feel like I can be a really good one. I had a lot of solid ones in my career that I learned from, that I still talk to this day, that, you know, if I have questions, I reach out to them. Like, so like I built a lot of great relationships in this game that I'm in the bit. I, like you touched on earlier, I love this game in and out. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for anything else other than getting the most out of my players. That's the end goal.
Good luck. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you as this off season unfolds, and we can do story time with Matt sometime. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Just I'm only a 15-minute drive away, so I'm in and around town. Anytime you need me, I'm here.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Matt Adams with us on Card Central 365 right here on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours.